Yo, what's up YouTube? My name is RO, and this video is about 3 Feet from Gold, and this is chapter 2, Awakening. I wrote it here, and then I'm just reading it to you for you to listen. It's through the Napoleon Hill Foundation, and I'm just reaffirming it in my affirmation video, so yeah, I think about it 2 times. So anyways, this is chapter 2, this is Awakening. More gold has been mined from the thoughts of men than has ever been mined, has ever been taken from earth. Chapter 2, Awakening. The lobby of Jonathan Buckland's headquarters building was awe-inspiring, with imported wood floors and floor-to-floor ceiling windows that made Greg feel small, even insignificant, rare feeling for someone who as self-important as the visitor. In that moment, Greg remembered the buildings he had visited as a young boy. His father sometimes took him along on business trips into the city. Those adventures with his dad had inspired Greg's dreams of success. He could not stop himself from comparing his boyhood dreams with his current unfulfilled life. 3 things sure hadn't worked out as he had planned. It occurred to him that he had not been in touch with his family for a few weeks, maybe it has been a few months. He all called later as he promised himself when he had some good news to report. He didn't know that, thinking he was rolling in cash. A smiling receptionist greeted him. "Welcome to the World Capitol building. Please take the elevator to the 50th floor and enjoy your visit." In the new moments it took to reach his destination, Greg pulled himself together. He put on his best game and face and gave himself a quick pep talk. This was his moment to shine. He stood ready to exit the elevator, armed with all self-generated confidence and charisma he could muster. When the doors parted, the eager guest burst out, therefore, of the radio, Bull jumping out of the gates. "Watch out there, Pops," he said, as he pushed past a tall, older gentleman who stood before him, presumably waiting to enter the elevator. Marching towards the reception desk, he held up a 9-man bag with the word "borrowed jacket" inside and announced, "Hey there, I am here to meet Mr. B. I have something for him." "Yes, he was expecting you," the receptionist began. Greg offered her by responding all so loudly as he was expecting me. "What are you talking about? I was told to come to this place at this time to give you back his coat. And he's not here. Maybe I should just keep the darn thing." "Sir, I think you are misunderstood." The receptionist replied. "I said was because you have already met him," she whispered. She pointed back towards the elevator door at the old man Greg had just pushed aside, frozen in shame. His eyes bugged slightly as he gave the receptionist a what do I do now expression. Jonathan Buckland saved him from this incredible, uncomfortable moment with, "I thought that we were on the way to a fire, young man. I was just coming over to greet the man who had enough integrity to return my favorite jacket." Realizing he had the twang of the kilt of the Buckland's use of the words integrity, Greg's demeanor immediately changed. After seeing his picture in magazines and all of the years, he couldn't believe he had failed to recognize the own Mr. Buckland. Standing 6 feet 4 inches tall, he was a giant of a man with an even larger personality. It would be hard for anyone to brush past such an iconic figure. Greg turned to greet the Buckland, whose smile now peeked from beneath his framed bushy mustache, which resembled walrus tusks. His unapprentice... I don't know why I'm laughing. I always just say that. I don't know why I'm laughing. His blue eyes contradicted the imperial image expected of such a man. When Buckland extended his hand, Greg handed with him a bag. Accepting the item, Buckland said, "I appreciate that, but I was attempting to shake your hand." "Oh," Greg replied, turning an even brighter shade of red. "I apologize, Mr. Buckland. It seems I cannot do anything right today. I really need a break." "I should probably just give up and start all over." "That's nonsense." "Understood this, and we make our own breaks. And at the end of the day, we are exactly where we choose to be." The tycoon paused and pointed to the open door of his office. "Got a second?" Realizing he had just been invited into the office of this legendary businessman, Greg tried to erase his awkwardness with a joke of sort of, "Yes, I think I can fit you in." As they stepped into the most tastefully decorated business office he had ever seen, he could not help but notice the incredible view of the harbor through the windows as he stepped into Buckland's personal world. Greg didn't realize that he was stepping across the threshold into a whole new chapter of his own life. "Take a seat," offered the host. "You seem a bit uptight. Tell me what's on your mind." Greg took the chair closet to the large desk and started writing. "Sorry about back there. I am very embarrassed," he said in a humble tone. "I was very excited to be here, and obviously we went a little over the top. I've been a bit overwhelmed lately and thought that maybe my luck had changed when I had the opportunity to meet with you. In fact, I had to confess I was hoping for a big break, and then it blew with me on my behavior. I am sorry. My girlfriend just left me with no warning after 5 years, and I am seriously thinking about quitting my business. I am pretty much at my wit's end and are ready to throw in the towel." Then sheepishly, Greg went on, "I can't believe it just unloaded on you like this. Once again, I apologize." He thought to himself, "You are such an idiot for talking to Buckland this way, like he really cares about your problems. No apology is necessary, and you haven't blown anything out of proportion. I am a good listener, and it sounds like we were supposed to meet. You know the saying, there is no coincidences. I enjoy helping young people like you discover who they really are and what they really want. The fact that you returned my jacket is a very good sign, even if the reason was just to meet me." He gave a subtle wink. "I have something that may help you." Buckland reached for a book on the shelf behind him and handed it his visitor. "It's about success. It tells you never to quit 3 feet from gold." "3 feet from what?" Greg asked, accepting the book, instantly recognizing the title, Think and Grow Rich, even though they had never read it, and it gave it to them. Anyways, politely, he thumbed through the pages before attempting, and a journal and a pen. No pen, just the book and a journal. Anyways, politely, he thumbed through the pages before attempting to hand it back to his host. Buckland smiled without moving to retrieve it. Greg kept on his outstretched in an awkward stalemate before setting the book on the desk. Sitting back in his overstuffed leather chair, Buckland said, "I am going to share another saying with you, one that has stayed with me for years. This has stayed with me for years. It is never to complain about your problems, because 95% of the people, they don't care. And the other 5% are glad that happened to you." Greg looked at Buckland with an expression that showed not only fully understanding that Buckland was saying, but he felt the reality of his own life and that he felt worse about dampening the problems of the older man. Buckland said, "I like to prove that saying wrong. I care about people who want to and are willing to help themselves. Let me ask you something. In your opinion of life in general, is the glass half full or is it half empty?" Thinking about. Direct reply took to Buckland by surprise. "It depends on what, may I ask?" Where the glass began, Greg responded, "Go on," finished with his thought. "The way I see it, if the glass started completely empty and you added liquid into the glass, it would become half full. If the glass started out of the half full price, it would be poured at a portion, but it would then be half empty." Reaching into his impressive hand-carved mahogany desk, Buckland pulled out a small notepad and wrote something down that is very understandable and to see on the expression of his face that showed he was impressed by the unique response to an age-old question. Buckland laid down his pen and twisted one side of his mustache in a thoughtful gesture. "I do not know what it is about you, but I like you. Maybe you remind me of myself." At your age, Buckland thought for a moment longer, then looked into the younger man's eyes. "I think you have potential. Are you willing to help yourself? If so, I have a friend I want you to meet." "If he's a friend of yours, I'd love to," Greg replied, feeling a surge of excitement upon his spine. "And what is that?" Buckland asked, hoping for another unique response. "Well, as they say, Birds of a feather flock together, and considering how successful you are, I would guess your friends are hot shots too. You're right about that. My good friend Charlie is tremendous. Tremendous. Always says that you're the same today as you will be in 5 years, except for two things. Except for two things. Buckland paused and gazed at his quest for what seemed like forever. In order to end the awkward silence, the newly open-minded student asked, "What two things?" With a smile, Buckland pointed to the book on the desk and said, "The people you meet in the books you read, think about, we are the sum total of the knowledge of that which we are associated with. If you read nothing but tabloids, that is what you will know and what you absorb. If you read biographies about great people and inspirational books, then that is what you will know and absorb." Okay, I get that. And the people we meet, is that true? I suppose, Greg said. You got that right. Charlie always says, hang around thinkers. Thinkers, I'm a thinker. Think a lot. And you'll be a better thinker. Hang around winners and you'll be a better winner. Hang around a bunch of complaining, griping boneheads and you become a better complaining, griping bonehead. Greg burst out laughing at Buckland continued. I have just handed you one of the greatest books you have ever read in your life, so that's the number one. The second part is opportunity to meet someone who will shine some insight on the treasures you will find within its pages. Thank you, Mr. Buckland, Greg said, looking but more closely at the book he had earlier set aside. Just meeting you as had been a huge gift to me. I look forward to meeting whom you have ever suggested, and I see you jotted something down while you were talking. Did I say something wrong? Heavens no. In fact, you taught me something that I want to remember. Buckland turned the dog earned not a book, so Greg could read what he had just written. Whether the glass is half full or half empty depends on where it began. Another thing I have learned over the years is that all great leaders keep copious notes in case they need to write. I write short reminders to myself that I can thumb through the later and instantly recall the entire message, and you just made my book. Inspired by the comment, Greg felt a renewed sense of self-confidence as he shook Buckland's hand. Things might turn out okay after all, he thought. Before he could get too far ahead of himself, John Buckland saw the cockiness returning to his new friend and brought him back down to his shoes with a question. Let me ask you something. Would I want to meet your friends? Greg just smiled and replied, probably not. Mr. Buckland, probably not. We're going to take it back. That was chapter 2, Awakening, from the book 3 Feet from Gold with the Napoleon Hill Foundation. More gold has been mined from the thought of man than has ever been taken from earth. I just affirmed that chapter here 2 times. I hope you're listening. My name's R.O. You see R.O. I hope you're listening. Thanks for watching. Till next time. Bye.